done it, and I've gone viral. The doctor said I should be able to use medication to look after it, but I've got to go back and tell all my ex-partners the news, which doubly sucks because I'll be honest with you, I don't remember where I dug the hole. Oh yeah! Okay. Don't look at the crack of my arse. I'm just kidding. Obviously just kidding. Yeah, I mean, not exactly a viral video, but for me, substantially more views in a short space of time than I have ever got before for a long form video. And it was about me having a moan at bike dealerships. It was actually quite interesting to read the comments and listen to the feedback. I say listen. I spoke out loud, said it myself. Oh, you're just an idiot. Yeah, it was nice to listen to. Stop saying listen, idiot, when you're reading stuff. Just because you listen to audiobooks doesn't mean that all words are spoken. Sometimes they're written down, you say them quietly in your head. I'm just going to say it anyway. I'm just going to use listen and hear like they actually spoke to me in the real world. So yeah, it was nice to hear this, like the people have had similar, I say nice, as if that's kind of like, haha, you had it too. But do you know what I mean? It's nice to know that I wasn't alone in my misery. Also nice to hear that there are some dealerships out there that do offer a nice experience. I was surprised actually, get out the way, pigeon! I was surprised some of the names mentioned. I would have thought it would have been mainly, you know, small or second-hand dealers that... Long leads, what are you doing with that lot? Are you fucking stupid, mate? Imagine for a second, he was stood on that centre, the one in the middle, and there's dogs on the other side of the road, right? If that was a thin lead, I'm going straight through it, and I'll be honest with you, I reckon I carry more momentum than that old man and that tiny dog, so both of them are going to get seriously hurt one day, because he's a fucking idiot. What was I saying? What was I doing? Oh yeah. So it was nice to know that some people get a nice experience at a car dealership, bike dealership even. Bloody hell. Distracted myself with a rant again. Long leads though. It's probably the only thing that I agree with Ashley Neal about. Like literally the only thing. And that man went for his first ride of the year in April. Shocking behaviour. I've gone and distracted myself 3 times in a row and I've forgotten my original point. Yeah, the original point was it was nice. It was nice to see a lot of interaction in the comments. I've always thought to myself that I would quite happily say, or quite happily do half my subscribers if I could get more interaction in the comments. I do like chatting away, even when there was some random bot thing that I didn't quite understand what was going on, something about crypto, no idea. Yeah, but it's nice to see the comment section so busy. I wonder if this thing turns green as in a slip roadway. I hope not, because I probably just kiboshed myself, as Jim Diesel would say. I think that's what he'd say. Let's just go with that. Yeah. And if you don't say it, start saying it now. Cold though, it's cold in the morning. Oh yeah, I think I may as well take this opportunity to address the elephant in the room. So if you could all please tell your mothers to get out. What am I doing? I was recently just thinking how nice it is to have all these extra new subscribers. And then I go, and do that mum joke. Rod for my own back. Yeah, but the elephant in the room would be that this is not the Aprilia Pegaso 650 trail exotic machine that we were all so desiring I'd be on. It is quite unfortunate that yesterday I broke the bike, although I think it would have broke anyway. Hopefully it's just an easy fix. What I did was, right, I was out in the out removing the top box from the Aprilia, which literally practically had to be cut off because everything was just rusted on solid. and then I was chasing the wires back to remove the USB point that someone put on it, and it was just dangling down. It didn't seem to work, and then the heater grips, obviously that don't work. So I was looking at the routing of the wires to see whether I could pull it out without having to remove the tank. Then I went into the menu and increased the rev limiter back to respectable 8,000 RPM instead of 7 or whatever garbage it was telling me to change. I can't remember whether these lights, I think these lights are fine. Yeah, these lights are right. Then I started the bike, running fine, blipped the throttle, died, wouldn't start again. The menu thing kept saying, it just said service, and then I had like the little warning triangle. So I went into the menu, reset the service light, thinking, oh, maybe it's telling me that I need to do a service or something, but I'll just switch that off because I've got oil, or I've got the filters and air, blah 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 blah, to do it anyway. Still didn't work. So I was getting quite frantic at this point, thinking I've just messed the bike up, and I didn't. I thought it was because I'd changed the rev limiter thing. So I reset that back to what it was, put everything back to how it was before. I even zeroed the clock out because I actually fixed the clock on the other bike. I thought, oh no, that's why you leave the clock broken. This is still broken, by the way. I haven't fixed that. Yeah, so I was looking on the forums, and they were saying now that because it was coming up with an ECU error for the a turnover sensor, right? In my head, someone says like turn it over, like in relation to an engine. I think it's a key thing, but apparently the turnover sensor is like a little level balance thing that's in the battery. So if your bike tips over, it cuts the bike off or something along those lines. Apparently they occasionally go wonky, but it seemed fine, and I don't know, I didn't touch it, so I don't know why it would all of a sudden go wrong. So I'm following the wires around, looking for any obvious breaks, and then on the, I don't know what it's called, but basically like down here on the bike, there's like basically like a little solenoid thing that I saw, and it had, you know, that green electrical corrosion around it, and on further inspection, there was a loose wire. So like the terminal that the wire is supposed to connect to had snapped off inside the spade connector, the female spade connector. I'll put a picture on it just so you can understand what I'm trying to describe. It turns out it's the ignition coil, or at least one of the ignition coils, something along those lines, which is a bit daft. A £25 part to replace. I was tempted to just solder the wire back on permanently, but I thought, well, if it's corroded enough, there may be more damage inside that I can't see. So I thought 25 quid, I'll just replace it. And I think that has he got a shiny suit on? Where are you the shiny suit, mate? That's a bit weird. Yeah, so the ignition coil, as you would expect, seems to connect directly to the spark plug, singular, which would make sense why it's turning and not firing. I don't know why it's saying turnover sensor when it's the ignition coil that's the problem, or seems to be the problem. And either way, I'll find out in 2 to 3 days when I get the new part delivered. I'm hoping that fixes the issue, because I saw one person say it was the I don't know what speed I'm going, that's just going to drop it to 30, so I'm at least doing 20 to 25 or something. I don't know how this stupid speedo reads. Yeah, so I saw one person in the forums with a similar error to mine chase it all the way back to replacing the ECU, which I found on eBay for about £800. At that point, I'm probably going to lose my fucking mind. But the obvious problem appears to be the snap terminal on the ignition coil that goes directly to the spark plug, which is the reason why I assume that's something I broke is because around it are all the wires for the heater grips and the routing of the wires for that USB port. So I'm guessing it was fragile, and I finished it off by dragging the wires about. A lesson learned, I suppose. But I think by the looks of it, it was literally it was just green mush. So I think the minute I started going off-road on something bumpy, it would have snapped and left me stranded somewhere. So better to have broken it on my driveway than miles away from home and unable to fix it. I still might at the weekend, if the part doesn't get to me then, to solder a wire back to it directly to see whether that fixes the issue in the short term, so I know that's the bit I need to replace. I should have really done it last night, but I was just so fucked off with the whole process at that point that I just wanted it to be out of sight for a little bit. Fortunately, I got the good old sturdy VFR ready to rock and roll, which fired up first time, no problem. And I've even got a full tank of fuel. Ready to rock and roll.